Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about full stack and positions at different sizes of companies. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, is the full stack developer role commonly associated with small companies or startups, or is it equally popular to hire full stack developers in large companies? And the short answer is it's pretty much evenly distributed over the entire IT community. It doesn't really favor one company over another. Let me explain. So yes, let's just say first and foremost that if you are a really small company, and it also depends a little bit on the people who are working in that company. I mean, if you have a few developers in a small company and you're looking for a front-end developer because you only have back-end developers, then yes, they will look for a front-end exclusive developer, and the same thing goes for the larger corporations. On the other hand, if you don't have a surplus of one type of developer, maybe you're starting like a really small company, maybe just a few people, then yes, a full stack developer, depending on the nature, of course, of the product, will be a very good investment. But this is the thing, guys. Even at a company where you have a surplus of backend developers, as an example, let's say a really big corporation, well, even in that scenario, it doesn't really matter if you're a full stack or like one of the others. It just depends on if you can do the job, if that makes sense. You see, when somebody says that I'm going to hire a developer, they're not saying I'm going to hire a full stack developer. What they're actually saying is that I need someone who can do the job that I need them to do. And the tasks that are associated with that job, well, they should understand those tasks and be able to execute them effectively. That is what they're actually saying. And if we think about that, well, just think about that. Does that mean that you have to be a front-end developer in order to do front-end work? Well, no. You just have to know how to do the job. If you're a full-stack developer, or you look at yourself as a full-stack developer, well, that doesn't matter to the employer. The employer doesn't care if what you call yourself. We just use these terms because usually these are terms that we find efficient to figure out if you know the thing that we are asking you to do. But if a full-stack developer knows how to use CSS, JavaScript, and so forth, like the front-end concepts, then why wouldn't I hire you? If you and this idea, you may have heard this idea that it's just universally true that all developers everywhere are either a backend developer, and that means that they are really good at backend, they're better than everybody else at backend, and then or you're a front-end developer and then you're just better at front-end than all the other developers, and that the full stack developers, they're these in between, like they're not masters of anything, they're just, kind of good. That's absolutely false. It's completely false. Sometimes it's true, but very often it's not. There are many developers who are full stack developers who are going to be a lot better at both front-end and back-end than someone who just focuses on back-end and front-end, because it's not dictated by what you call yourself or what you focus on. It's dictated one part by aptitude, like how just are you good at programming? Are you good at the tasks that are related to this role? And the second part is how much energy do you put in? Like how much fitness do you have within this area? You know that I really like to use the analogy to fitness when I talk about developer skill, because it is like training your muscles. If you only work on very simple projects, it doesn't matter if you only focus on back-end problems, because you're not going to be as good as a full-stack developer who has to do really advanced stuff on a daily basis, even though they might have to build the front-end as well. As an example, I work with I have a few junior developers at my job, and I am technically a full-stack developer. Well, I work as a full-stack developer these days. I used to be a front-end developer before I was a full-stack developer. And then, at my last job, and then before that, I was a full-stack developer. So my first job, I was a full-stack developer. I got hired as a front-end developer. So that, and this was for a fairly big company. So what, right there, as I was saying, it doesn't really matter if you're full stack backend or frontend, as long as you can do the job. They're just looking. The company isn't. They don't care what you call yourself. They just care that what they need from you, that you can do that thing. So they hire me as a full stack developer, even though there were other front-end developers in the pipeline. And because I had, I'm guessing, a nicer smile than them, I got the job. And now I went from a front-end position to a full stack position, once again, probably because I have such a lovely smile. And they didn't care that I had been a front-end developer, because they knew that I have an understanding of full stack work. And so they hire me for full stack job again. And when I work with my junior coworkers, as an example, I mean, they are fresh into their new role. They've just started out. Everything's new to them. And sure, some of them are some of them are front-end developers, and they focus really hard on the front end. And I can see that, you know, they're pretty good at this stuff. But I've worked for longer in the same space, and I haven't focused exclusively on it, but I've still been in the game longer, and I've kept my skills up to date. So they still come to me for help. And at some point, they're probably going to pass me, and they're going to, because I can't, as I was saying, like, I can't guarantee that just because I try to be very engaged that I'm just going to stay more experienced than somebody who's focusing on one single thing. But it also depends on them. It depends on how much energy and steam they have to continue their personal development, and how much exercise, quote unquote, they're actually going to put in to becoming masters of their area. So what I want you to take away from this is that there is no real reason or behind, there's no correlation necessarily between small companies and full stack developers. Sometimes yes, because especially if you work in a company where you need every developer to be able to pretty much ship their own project, then yes, this is a normal thing. But that's not just in small companies like consultancies and so forth. This is very common as well. And it very much depends on the structure of the company. And that's the key thing here, guys. That's the thing that dictates if somebody's hiring front-end, back-end, or full stack, like if they have a preference even. It all comes down to how is the organization shaped. If you're in a consultancy and every consultant, they run a business where basically they hire they sell one consultant to one project. If that's a full stack project, or most of the work they are doing is like building websites, well then yes, a full stack person is what they're going to look for. But if they have in another consultancy, they might be working in teams, like one backend developer and one front-end developer, or they might have just backend work going on. There's so many ways to slice this cake that it's almost impossible to say that there's a correlation. And at the large companies, it's the same thing. They don't care if you call yourself a front-end developer, a back-end developer, or a full-stack developer. What they care about is, do you pass the bar for the stuff that they need you to do? That's what they care about. And the terms and the labels, they're just a way for us to indicate what we're focusing on and what we're kind of good at. But as I said, there are many exceptions to this rule. I went from a front-end developer to a full-stack developer, and this is not a unique story to me in any way. There are so many people who have made the same sorts of transitions, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you call yourself, it matters what you know. Have a great day.